All right, welcome back to another Wright Stew podcast. I am Paul Stewart.
And I am Brian Wright, and we're on Saturday. Good day. Not as good as Friday, but it's still a good day to be kicking it on the Wright Stew.
Heck yeah. Thanks for joining us on this Saturday. Got opening day. I told you I've got opening day coming up for my 8U coach pitch Orioles. Got a little doubleheader today. But Brian, that leads me to a question for you.
Hang on, before you go further.
Yeah.
How are you? So you've experienced this from your daughters who are in college to now your youngest daughter is 8. Is that right?
Seven.
How have you seen a couple of different things? How have you seen yourself change? And how have you seen the other parents change? Because that's a pretty wide gap.
Yeah. So my oldest two are 20 and 18, got a 13-year-old son and a 7-year-old daughter. So that's a pretty so just seen change. I remember being in kindergarten, first grade with the older ones. I'm like, I'm kind of the young hip dad. Now I'm like, I'm the dad with all the gray in the beard. Like am I the grandpa now? Like, is that what people look at me? And it is interesting that I took my 7-year-old to the park the other day. And I was watching, you could tell the first time parents with one kid versus the ones who were on our fourth. Now, not that I'm not taking care of her, but you're a little more lenient with things. Yeah, let them learn some things. But so with the older ones, just physically, just more energy from Coach Paul. Right, I was had a little more being that long ago. I don't think I've changed a lot. Like I've always conceptually thought and understood, hey, this is the building block. Yeah, I've probably learned things, picked up on some things through trial and error that I've implemented over time. But it's realistically, it's staying as organized as possible in the dugout, on the field, communicating with parents, making sure that they know what's going on. That's a big part of it. Here's one thing, Brian, that I've eliminated from old Coach Paul's repertoire. Team snack, forget about it.
I've been wanting to get rid of it for years, bro. All right,
I want nothing to do with it. I remember early on that was a big deal, getting the sign-up sheet, people. And now I'm like, it's because somebody asked me after our last practice the other day about team snack after the game. I said, look, if you all want to organize it, you can organize it and do it. I want nothing to do with it. And I tell them, like, look, I've got 4 kids, so I look at it through the lens of it's just one more thing for me to have to worry about.
Hey, man.
One more thing, I have to go get the box of Doritos, and then I get the stank eye because I brought Doritos and not a healthy, something, and whatever it is. So I'm just like, I don't. And they just played a t-ball game or a coach for an hour and a half, and they don't need a protein bar after that, right? So
right, they didn't run a marathon.
Yeah, man. So those are a few of the things, and I've seen parents. Parents have been pretty consistent from how much they care. You'll get kind of the stereotypical some who care a little too much, some who are kind of right in the middle, others who have no idea what's going on. They're just happy their kids out there doing something athletic, right? So I think that trend has stayed true over time. And that actually, before we get back to opening day, that reminds me, I watched a show on Disney Plus called Win or Lose. And so I actually started watching it with my 7-year-old, and it's about a co-ed softball team, oddly enough, but it shows the perspective of like 8 different participants in a game leading up to the championship game. And so it's really interesting. And it brought some kind of thought-provoking to me, whereas because it shows the coach, what he's going through. It shows the
Is it supposed to be real, or is it kind of?
No, it's a cartoon. It's a cartoon.
Oh, okay.
And there's some the way they drew it, designed it. Each kind of character has their own
perspective,
design, and kind of feels it. There's like a single mom who the daughter's like, oh, my mom's not paying attention, but then you see what the single mom's going through. So it really puts in perspective kind of the emotions, and you think about kids 8 to 12 and can be potentially going through a lot depending on what's going on at home and mentally, and how our words as coaches really have an effect on what you're doing, right? Or how they're doing, how they're interacting with you, with their teammates. So I would recommend. I mean, it's for kids, but I really enjoyed it. And as a coach, it gave me perspective on like, oh man, maybe I do need to consider a little bit about if a kid shows up late for practice. Clearly, they can't drive, but yeah. And Brian, we've always been like that. We've never beat kids up for that because yeah, until they turn
No,
16,
because
then
they
whatever.
they can't control it. Number one, I mean, they're not the one driving. Parents got other things in their life, and I think we've had different situations where we fully have recognized, like kid. Again, we never really get after kids too hard, but a kid may take something in a way.
Really interesting show. I recommend everybody go take a look at it. It's good for adults, good for kids. It's one of those Pixar shows where just where it plays to both audiences and both can appreciate it. So really good. But back to opening day, Brian. Major League Baseball opening day. There were a handful of teams that had their opening day today. Giants, Red Sox, Mets. But it's like a week into the season. How do you feel about that kind of where it's your home opening day, but you're already like 7 games in?
Yeah, I think it's the nature of the beast. I saw Chicago was playing at home today, and the Cubs, and it was 46 degrees playing the
Oh,
Padres, and that is just not ideal weather, especially the Padres coming from San Diego. That's you know by like Pleasantville, right? 72, 72,
oh
and
yeah.
then going to 46. Baseball is not meant to be played in cold weather, but so I understand it to an extent, but I don't think it's really being driven off of geography. I just think it's kind of the nature of the beast. I mean, it does feel a little bit longer. I would like it to see it on a Saturday. I think a lot of times you have these Friday afternoon games and stuff, and it's like, I mean, maybe you can get there,
I don't
but
know, dude. I think
it's
I think if
tough.
you lived in a big league city, you'd find a way to get out. I was
That's
actually
true.
messaging. I was messaging with a friend who lives in San Francisco, and he was like, "Hey, on the BART on the way to the game or on the train, something like that." So that was pretty cool, man. I haven't messaged him since, but it was I was kind of jealous. So
Hey, I saw Rodriguez for Seattle. They were playing in San Francisco at an Oppo Taco, which is pretty impressive
it's
there.
tough to do there, man. That's
Yeah, man. You don't see many. I mean, that's real juice to get it out the opposite field at Petco.
yeah, and that's a hitter's or a pitcher's park, which makes what bonds it, I think, even more impressive. I mean, whatever people believe, know about that or believe about that, that's still a big ballpark to be doing that. It wasn't like he was doing it at Coors or something like that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's incredible. Incredible. So, what's your thoughts on it? What's your thoughts on a weekend?
I don't like the weekend. It doesn't. I really wish each team had almost like a 4 game home and home. Like just make it geographically where it's close and makes sense. You play 2 games at home, and then the other team plays 2 games at home, right? We talked a little bit about interleague. Maybe the White Sox play the Cubs on opening weekend. Royals play the Cardinals. The Bay series, New York series, right? And so they can geographically be close to each other and kind of bounce back and forth. And one team gets 2 home games, then the next team gets 2 home games. It all happens within like a 4 day period, and then you move on to regular schedule. I just think
Yeah.
it's tough for some teams to have to kind of wait around and just it doesn't feel as quote unquote more like opening day ish or whatever.
No, no, because there are definitely some stadiums once you get afternoon games that were kind of empty. Hey, I saw where Coastal Carolina for their upcoming football season is doing unlimited food. You buy a ticket, you get in the stadium. Food is free.
I saw. Wait, I thought that was an April Fool's joke. Was that real?
That's 100% real. 100% real.
Really? I thought because I thought I saw that on April Fool's, and I thought it was an April Fool's joke. That's a real thing.
That is a real thing. Kind of hit national news or national kind of sports news. The banana, they stole it from the banana guy, right? Because that's how he kind of got his brand going. Hey, you buy a ticket to get in the building and watch Banana Ball. You can feed your family, right? You can come in. So for $15 a piece, you're feeding your entire family. And so that's
So
kind
are
of how
they?
he initially built his brand. And obviously now they're selling out football stadiums. And so, like
Yeah.
big football stadiums. And so Coastal is not that big. I think their football stadium's 23,000. It's not a huge. I've been there, and they decent crowd, but it's still very much mid-major feeling in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So again, if you can get a ticket into Coastal Carolina, I feel like MLB would do itself some favors to have some promotions like that too. Instead of
Yeah.
having $12 dogs and $15 beers, I would if you could just fill up those stadiums, you would take care of yourself.
Yeah, dude. That was always the old Thirsty Thursdays or Dollar Dogs, and
Yeah,
it
that's
was
minor league
true
ball,
though.
right? And so,
Yeah,
yeah.
minor league ball. You did see more families on those nights, though,
Oh,
because families would
100%, dude,
legit
or
come.
drunk college students,
Yeah. Yeah, no, I didn't know. So, are they increasing ticket prices? Do you know?
I don't know the math on it. I don't know. The ticket prices weren't outrageous. I can't recall what the tickets were to get in, but it wasn't like going to an ACC or SEC. You could get in there relatively.
It may be worth the 2.5 hour drive to head down to Conway and get me some tickets to a Coastal Carolina and have a
Absolutely.
hot supper for the family.
Yeah, I think you might could even get some chicken fingers.
Ooh, man, now we're talking. There's got to be man. There's no way it's all free. I'm
You
gonna
can
do
only get like per trip to the concession stand. There is a limit per trip. But there is no limit to how many times you can go to the concession stand.
I just take all my kids, just have them all individually. Yeah, gosh, might be worth a trip down there. So, all right. So speaking of other amazing and terrific things, Cooper Flagg won the AP National Player of the Year. So the Duke University freshman. So only the fourth freshman to ever win it from as the AP National Player of the Year. The first to do it was Kevin Durant in 2007. The second was Anthony Davis from Kentucky in 2012. And then Zion did it just a few years ago, 2019, also as a member of the Duke Blue Devils. And all three of those players either went number 1 or number 2 in the draft, which I think is where we would anticipate Cooper Flagg, whether it's this year or next year. It seems like it's trending more towards this year for sure. But Brent, any thoughts on Cooper Flagg winning it there?
Really good player. I've seen him a number of times. I've probably seen Duke play as many times as anybody else. And what you notice is a couple of things: maturity, body control, real ups, feel for the game, has a way to contribute when he's not scoring, and fearless. I mean, he'll take it to anybody whenever it's 1-on-1. At Duke, they still do some old school, isolation type plays that you see in the NBA. Obviously, they feature him for him, but it's kind of like get the hell out of the way and let him go 1-on-1 with somebody, and he wins a lot of those matches. I think it's going to be interesting. He could be like the first white American that is like a really good player in the NBA. Like there's whites out there in the NBA that are decent players, but it's all Europeans.
Yeah, a lot of Euros. Who's the last one I can remember, just off the top of my head without looking at anything, was Adam Morrison from Gonzaga.
He never was a guy in the NBA.
No, I mean Michael Jordan. I think that was the Bobcats still. Michael Jordan kind of went after him, and
yeah, because he saw. Let's be honest. He saw the marketing value in that, and Morrison was never the guy. I can't recall like a white guy that was good for an extended period of time since my whole really adult life, and so it can be interesting to see if that
a handful. There's been a handful. I mean, like Steve Nash. He's Canadian technically, so
yeah, not an American.
Steve
Nash. I would have claimed him if I'd have thought of him, but I did not think him. Who else would you go outside of Steve Nash?
John Stockton, going back to our youth, a little more to our youth, right?
He was in the 80s.
Yeah,
Larry Bird.
I did. So this is off topic a little bit, but I heard was listening to the rewatchables about movies, and they did the movie Blue Chips, and they were talking about Bobby Hurley and just how good that dude was back in the day, and kind of the swagger that he had, the confidence, but like he backed everything up, man, and that got me thinking about those old Duke teams. Like, man, Bobby Hurley was really great. So I don't know who else is out there, Brian. Who are you thinking of?
I don't have. I mean, that was kind of my question, because off the top, and Nash would have came up if I'd have thought of him. But there's not been, there's been some guys here and there. You're like, man, he's a good athlete, good player. Los Angeles has a pretty good white right now. That's a good player. I can't think of his name though. He's not like
He's that good, huh?
well, I mean, he's not like he's not like Joker. He's not like all these other guys that you can just think of. Durant and LeBron. There's all just the common names.
I mean,
And
I guess in the recent, like Kevin Love, maybe Kevin Love had that kind of string of double doubles. JJ Redick
I
ish.
couldn't put JJ. Love, you probably could. I think I could. JJ, I don't think you could. I mean, he was a very good player for a long time.
Kind of a role guy, yeah.
Yeah, but never the guy, really.
No, and yeah, Larry Bird might be the last one that was like the guy.
Like legitimately in the conversation for the best two or three players.
Keith Van Horn. I thought he was going to be the.
Yeah, I mean, dude, there's been some athletic whites, but I'm just saying the combination. Like even Joker's not like you don't see him make plays. And like, man, he's really athletic. You're like, dude, he knows how to play, knows how to score, knows how to be the guy. And
yeah,
and that's it'll be interesting to see if Flagg ends up being the Great White Hope.
Yeah. So either way, he'll probably have more.
Either way, he's Player of the Year.
Yeah. So congratulations.
And I think a really good chance of being a national champion, which I'm sure means just as much, if not more.
Well, so let's get into that, Brian. The matchups, like the Duke Blue Devils are facing the Cougars of Houston, and I know we've shared our allegiance to the ACC, so I think we'll probably both stick with that and be pulling forward and think the Dukies are going to win, right?
Well, the chalk's been right so much; it's hard to argue with it. I mean, with Duke being what they've been and proven to be, I mean, Houston's really good. They've got a number of talented guys, a lot of slashers, a lot of athletes. And then the same thing on the flip side with Florida. I mean, Florida just looks like they're the chalk too. So I think we're going to end up with a Florida Duke championship. We'll see if I'm wrong.
So Duke's a 2.5 point favorite. Or no, sorry, Florida is a 2.5 point favorite. Duke is a 5.5 point favorite. So I mean, it's exciting. I know it's one of those things we haven't been enthralled by this year's tournament, but I think.
Well, it's just so. I mean, NC State, from a personal standpoint, was so bad. That, you were kind of disenfranchised really early in the year. If you're, I definitely pull for the uniform more than I pull for the sport or the name on the back, right? So I'm definitely one of those guys. And so when your team is so terrible, you just kind of move on and you hope baseball's a better season.
Yeah, absolutely. And so the other thing going on, Brian, that we have coming up, and we need some audience, we need some crowd, we need some fan participation on this. Somebody's got a birthday coming up tomorrow. So if you're listening on Saturday, here's what I want you to do. If you know Brian, hey, send us in a Brian story, and we'll read it. We'll read it on tomorrow's pod.
Good stories.
If you don't know Brian and you've just been a listener, maybe share one of your favorite things that Brian has talked about, or something he's done.
Definitely the Falconeer.
So the Falconeer. So Brian, born in 1980. What does that make you? 45. 45 tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any big plans for the birthday, Brian?
No, I'm not a big birthday celebrator. As a male,
we've talked. I know.
And so I don't. I mean, there's literally no plans. My wife and one daughter's out of town. We got some baseball early afternoon that we're going to be doing with our middle school team. I think we'll eventually figure out a way to get some dinner with my parents, and that'll probably wrap it up.
Okay. All right. So and if you listened a couple of days ago, Brian said he did want some pickles. So I made some pickles today. I jarred some pickles. So the next time,
I want somebody to. How would we convince people that they need to try your pickles? Like the real pickles, they're not. It's not innuendos. It's in the innuendos. I want to say something. Like Paul makes his own unique pickles, and they're better than Mount Olive or whatever they're making, Olive Farms, and they're kind of unique. They're not as much. of something in there. They're just their own unique taste. I'm thinking about marketing Paul Spickles.
Paul Spickles, that's the name. Well, no, I don't know if the FDA would certify. I don't know what.
May not certify you in your house, but they are excellent. So I'm stoked, and I
I
really appreciate
appreciate that. Yeah, here's the problem I run into, Brian. So I do like to cook. I'm a pretty good. I realize that, but everybody likes like the pickle idea. We talked about doing a rub earlier today. For some my daughter's boyfriend always wants me to cook smoked meats for him and cook. My family like we do this little 4th of July parade, and I kind of encourage it a little bit. And they want me to go cook meats and make money. And I don't know, man. Like I enjoy it. I don't know if I enjoy it that much. To
Well,
where
I think all you'd have to do is write down one of those recipes. We private label it.
that's
I'm telling you, dude.
I
I've
don't
got
really do
ideas.
recipes. Like I'm mixing. Like I kind of throw things as I see fit during.
You just have to write them down that one time, though. I think you write it down
Yeah.
that one time, and I'm like, I'll be your taste tester because I've tasted your good ones, but they are unique.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm stoked about that. I appreciate it.
We'll make it. We'll make that happen. So if you got a Brian birthday story, it's Wright Stewart podcast at gmail.com. Wright Stewart podcast at gmail.com. He's accepting monetary donations as well. If you want to send some money this way. So let's yeah. Hey,
So I
let's,
have
let's
2
make it.
daughters and a son, so everybody knows I need the monetary donation.
Yeah, gosh, yeah. Kids ain't cheap, folks. Kids ain't cheap. So, hey, well, thank you for listening today. Pull for your favorite team out there in the NCAA Final Four tonight. I'll give you a report on opening day for the 8U Coach Pitch Orioles tomorrow. I'm looking to find some barrels and then, but make it a great day.
Out, go Pack and Tigers.